What is up guys, my name is Ignas, welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a look into another tech sector's industry, IT services. So for the dividend comparison I've picked 3 companies, and the first is Accenture, ticker symbol ACN. On the year to date the stock is down for 36.91%, but if we zoom out to the last 5 years, it was trading at $135 back in 2017 and went up to $255 in 5 years, up 90.21%. So Accenture will be the first name for today's IT services dividend stock comparison, but I do have 2 more to put against it. The second is Fidelity National Information Services, ticker symbol FIS. On the year to date the stock is way down minus 41.88%, and zooming out it is not that much better. It was trading at $93.39 back in 2017, so went down 18.15% in 5 years, to almost $76 per share today. It is a smaller name compared to Accenture, but there is another stock I'm adding for the comparison. Third one is Cognizant Technology Solutions, ticker symbol CTSH. Similarly to FIS, the stock is down 34.68% on the year to date, and if we zoom out to 5 years that is also very close. The stock was trading at $72.54 back in 2017, and then went down to $50.14 now, lower for 19.34%. So these 3 will be the IT services names for today's dividend comparison, and to make it happen we'll use Google Sheets. So in order for the dividend comparison to work, I've picked 5 metrics that we will actually be comparing. Dividend yield, dividend payout ratio, years of consecutive dividend increases, 5-year compound annual dividend growth rate, and the current dividend yield compared to its 5-year average. We'll take all the numbers under each metric and then compare them in between. The best stock under each metric gets a point, then we will sum the results up, and in the end the stock with the most points will be considered the winner of this dividend comparison. I hope that the rules were clear, and an early thumbs up would be very much appreciated, and with that out of the way, let's begin. So the first metric we are taking is the dividend yield. It is calculated by taking the annual dividend per share and dividing it by the share price. Accenture is currently paying a dividend of $4.48 per share, so at a share price of $256.74, this is a dividend yield of 1.74%. Now we have FIS. Their annual dividend is at $1.88, so at a price of $76.50, this is here a dividend yield of 2.45%. And lastly Cognizant, their dividend is at $1.08, so at the price of $58.46, this is here a dividend yield of 1.84%. Second metric is the dividend payout ratio. The percentage here shows what part of company's earnings are being distributed back to investors as dividends. So in ACN case, the payout ratio is at 38.92%, meaning that just under 2/5 of company's earnings are being distributed as dividends. Now let's take Fidelity, and their payout ratio is at 23.96%. So in this case, under 1/4 of earnings are being used for dividends. And for Cognizant, the number is even better. Payout ratio is at 21.76%, so they are using just over 1/5 of earnings to pay dividends. Metric number 3 is the years of consecutive dividend increases. So for how many years the company has been increasing dividends for at least 1 quarter every year. In Accenture's case, they have been increasing dividends consistently for the last 17 years. Switching to FIS, and they have been increasing dividends consistently only for the last 2 years. And now Cognizant, they are just a bit better but still way under Accenture, with 3 years of consecutive dividend increases. Now metric number 4 is the compound annual dividend growth rate. Here we'll take the 5-year average including the next year's estimate. So for Accenture, the dividend growth rate is at 9.93%. Switching to FIS, and their compound annual growth rate is a bit lower at 7.99%. And now CTSH, where their 5-year growth rate is even lower at 6.19%. Now the last metric is the one I like tracking the most, and that is the current dividend yield compared to its 5-year average. For that we'll be using my dividend investing watchlist on Google Sheets. So we are in the tab for Accenture, and here is its dividend yield history for each quarter of the last 5 years. Out of that we calculate that on average in 5 years the stock was trading at a dividend yield of 1.48%. So the best time to get into the stock was back in 2017, where it was trading at a yield of 1.84%, over the 5-year average for 24.69%, and worst one was in the beginning of 2022 at 0.98%, under average for 33.59%. But this year, with the price moving lower, the dividend yield is currently at 1.74%, which is now quite over the average for 17.91%. So this here will be the number that we are comparing. Now let us take FIS. We have its dividend yield history of the last 5 years, and on average the stock was trading at a yield of 1.28%. So the worst time to get in was by the end of 2020, where the yield was at 0.94%, under average for 26.78%. But this year we have the dividend yield way up at 2.34%, which is now almost 2 times more than average, higher for 82.27%. And the third is Cognizant, which on average in the last 5 years was trading at a dividend yield of 1.23%. So the worst time to get in was back in 2017, where we saw the dividend yield at 0.90%, under average for 26.97%. But this year, similarly as others with the price moving lower, we now have the dividend yield at 1.84%, which is way over the 5-year average for 49.30%. So now we do have the numbers for this particular dividend comparison, but if you by any chance would be interested into taking a look into other dividend paying companies, you are able to access this watchlist by following the first link at the top of the description. Otherwise, feel free to leave a ticker symbol in a comment below, and I'll consider adding that into the watchlist myself. Maybe you could share some interesting opportunities available in the market that I'm still missing. So we did go through all the 5 metrics, the numbers are in, and now we can start assigning points. So first point goes to Fidelity with the largest dividend yield at 2.45%. Cognizant gets a point for the lowest dividend payout ratio at 21.76%. A point to Accenture for the highest number of consecutive dividend increases with 17 years. Another point to ACN for the highest compound annual dividend growth rate at 9.93%. And the last point to FIS for the largest distance between the current dividend yield and its 5-year average at 82.27%. So now that the points are in, we can calculate results. Accenture got 2, Fidelity 2, and Cognizant 1. Since CTSH only got 1 best metric, we can hide it for the moment and reassign that point for the second best. That will be Fidelity with a lower dividend payout ratio at 23.96%. So after adding this extra point, now ACN has 2, FIS 3, and CTSH 1. This means that with 3 points, Fidelity National Information Services is now considered the winner of this dividend comparison. And that was it. Make sure to support the channel and leave a thumbs up under the video. Are you buying into any of the IT services companies yourself? Share your best pick in a comment below. If you would by any chance be interested in getting access to my notes, then consider memberships. By becoming a member, you will get access to Discord, where I share all my Google Sheets documents and all the buys and sells exactly when I do them. This could be a great option to track my moves closely. Last week I have looked into several other companies, so if you are interested in any of these, then click on a video that is currently on the screen. And that was it from my side. Thank you for watching, and I will be seeing y'all in the next one.